Hey, welcome to the Pharmacy Residency Podcast, a member of the Pharmacy Podcast Network. Sorry, I don't have my mic, so sound might be a little bit different. I just want to talk a little bit about late. So late transcripts, late recommendations, even late applications. So I have a number of free um, late templates for you to do it. And I want to show you where it is. It's at residency.teachable.com/P/extreme LOI. And you just scroll down here to where it says preview, and it says late transcript and recommendation email templates. So it should pop up like this, where you have late recommendation, late transcripts, and even late application. And what I want to do is I want to kind of talk through each of these and talk about what you can do. So let's start with the the late recommendation. So the first thing is that you want to, when you're sending this email, I'm only making it really huge so that it works out and you can see it on YouTube if you're watching the video instead of the audio. But the first thing is you're going to want to make the email header very clear. You should put your name, your college, and what it's about as best you can. So just because they get so many emails, you want them to be able to get right back to it really easily. So this is what I said, and again, you can change this up. I did this a long time ago, but dear program director, my name is from the University of Potomac River College of Pharmacy, and I understand that I have a recommendation outstanding to your program. I wanted to update you on this issue. I initially requested the recommendation on October 15th, 2023, but life circumstances have made it difficult for my recommender to meet the deadline. I've been in touch with them and indicated they would forward that recommendation on January 2nd, 2024. I want to apologize for this inconvenience. Sincerely, resident applicant. So what are we trying to do here? The first thing is we're trying to get a pass because they don't actually have to, if somebody's late in the recommendation, they don't actually have to take it. They can say that your file is incomplete. Sorry, you can't. And it's unlikely that they'll do that unless there's someone that just has so many applications, or maybe you're just not a good fit for them or something like that. But the most important thing is to make it very easy to find. So that heading is huge, and then making sure that this happens. And then you'll also want to put a follow-up email. Hey, just want to let you know that it looks like the recommendation did go in. Again, I appreciate your patience with this. Okay. So the one for the transcripts is going to be a little bit tougher because obviously colleges are going to be closed over the break. And if there was a delay, the key is, well, why didn't you just order it earlier? Right. And what happened? So the RPD doesn't really want to read about the explanation as much as what you just need to do is give them an unofficial transcript so they actually have something to go off of. So what they're really just trying to do is make sure that, okay, the person doesn't have their transcripts, but I don't want to have somebody come in that has like a 2.1 GPA and put them at the top of the line, go through the interview, and then only to find out, oh my gosh, wait, what's going on? So in that case, you would put the attachment and you would make sure that you summarize it as well. And so what you want to do is you want to say something like, I have attached my pharmacy school transcript, and my GPA is 3.7 or my GPA is 3.6. All they really care about is, are you above the line? So at certain residencies, if you have like a 3.2 or higher, that's all they care about. They could care less that you have a 3.3 or 3.5 or 3.7. I know that breaks some people's hearts. They just, okay, they're competent. That's good. I really care much more about the other things. Others will give you many points for that, and they're just looking for the number. And the easier you make it, the easier it is for them. So again, with that as well, you would want to put something like that. The late application is or a last minute application, you could call it, is sometimes when you're going through this process, you kind of have an idea who the big names are. and you're like, okay, UNC, Minnesota, Mayo, Cedars Sinai, and they're usually associated with big hospitals, big teaching hospitals and so on. And a lot of times it takes some time for you to get to the point where you start looking at these other hospitals that are like, wow, that's actually a really good fit. That's a really generous stipend. Those are really a lot better hours than I would get, and so on and so forth. And what you can do is, just as plans change when you're graduating, the plans change as you're going through this process. And what you want to do is just make clear that you are not picking them, and this is the only real concern, is that you are not picking them as a safety residency. You are picking them because amongst the 4,000 residencies, you just didn't discover them. And it took some time for that to happen. You don't want them to think that, oh, they just wanted to make sure that they have a place to go. This person's pretty qualified for here. But, if they're only applying to, Mayo and Yale and Hopkins and all these really, really tough ones, um, then what do we do? So again, what you want to do is make clear your intent and reasons for choosing that one. But I have heard over and over again that those late and the application itself might not be late, but it just would be like right at the deadline type of thing. But sometimes it is actually late. Those are the ones that people actually matched with the best and were happiest with, because it really is a lot to try to figure out, like, where am I going to go, and all of this stuff as you're going through this process with 4,000 options. And it just tends to be something that happens late cycle like this. So whether you're late, whether there's some kind of late recommendation, whether there's some kind of late transcript, or whether it's a late application in general, all of these things, you just want to articulate that they are very important to you, a top choice. You're not allowed to say top choice. You're not allowed to, say where they rank and all those types of things, but you just want to make them understand that, yes, this is something very important to me. I wanted to talk to you personally about it. Again, I know it's an inconvenience, and thank you, for spending the time. So again, if you want my one-on-one help with the actual letter, and I'm turning them around in around 24 hours. You just residency.teachable.com, go to the Extreme LOI, and then you just email me what you got, and then I'll tell you what more I need. And I hate to say I'll fix it. That's I do, but it's more that I've just done this so many hundreds of times, and I know that some of you guys have gotten help in your classes, and some people have residency classes for this stuff. And the problem I see over and over again is that your instructor doesn't know when you're cheating. And what I mean by that is that they don't know that you've copied it from a template like UCSF or ACCP or ASHP. And they're like, well, it seems like a lot of them, have very similar ones, but, they're all classmates. So maybe they were, sharing that way. And what I can do is always make sure to say, okay, I've looked at a bunch of letters. I know this sentence. If I see, for example, the phrase, I want to express my sincere interest, or I see the phrase, oh, this is a good one. Um, I want to be a well-rounded pharmacist, but you don't. It's absolutely wrong. You're actually saying, I want to be a well-rounded pharmacist, but you're saying that you want to do a PGY2 in critical care. That is not a well-rounded pharmacist. That is a very focused, specific pharmacist. And so what happens is it becomes this kind of Frankenstein of like stuff you thought was pretty good, but it doesn't actually make sense. So what I do, I mean, I was English major undergrad, and then I almost got a PhD in it. Um, is I make it flow, it makes sense. So when the person reads it and they look at it, they're like, I get it. This person is working in retail and wants to move into ambulatory care. Oh, I get it. This person is um, working in a hospital, but never got to do a residency and is interested in kind of continuing on. And so it just makes sense, and it does it quickly. If I were to pick one thing that you will struggle with, it's the flow and the clarity of your purpose and your match to that site as to how they can help you and you can help them. And what happens is it's like you have this block paragraph that you could even chop off in the top where it just says, I want to do this residency, and I've copied all these sentences. Then you put some personal stuff, and then you put the next thing and then the next thing, but you never wrap it all up in kind of like a bow and put it together in such a way that it's memorable enough that you could, get the residency and so on. So again, I enjoy doing this, kind of going through this journey with you guys. And I always love March, all the successes that we have. But again, whatever you need, TonyThePharmacist at gmail.com.